Hello, my name is Jimmy and welcome to the 2024 Silverado HD 2500. It has been updated and, well, just look at it. It looks absolutely great. It's not just the outside. They refreshed the interior too, and there's a lot to talk about. But first, I want to address something. This truck currently, it's not loaded, and that's just about how people in Vancouver drive their trucks. There's plenty of trucks here that just have nothing in their bed. If anything, is a tonneau cover, and that's it. Just most people don't use their trucks for truck things, like 80% of the time. Trucks are actually just really good luxury vehicles these days. So let's take it in a slightly different perspective. Let's take a look at it. Why is this a luxury vehicle? So first of all, like I said, the looks, it does look really good. You got the LED headlamps, LED fog lamps, and being the high country, you just got chrome all over. The grille, it stands nice and tall. This is like a very, very macho front end, and personally, I do like this more than the outgoing front end. This just looks more, cohesive with the brand itself. This just looks better to me. On the side, you got 20-inch wheels, nice and big wheels. You do have the deployable side steps to make it easier to get in and out. Speaking of easier getting in and out, you have these steps on the side of the bed, as well as steps on the rear bumper. So getting into the bed is nice and easy. And this truck has the multifunction rear tailgate, so it's just super easy, to get in. Jumping inside, starting with the back seat first. Headroom, legroom, not a problem. It's absolutely huge in here, so you can really, just stretch out. It's just really comfortable. And you get heated seats, which is nice. And because it is a truck, it's so wide, you're able to fit, all three people across with really no problems. And because it is kind of like, your everyday vehicle now, you can fit 3 car seats in here as well. As you can see, I got 2 Kleck Fumps and a Kleck Flow here. No problems getting that in. Infant carrier, that's nice and easy to put in here as well. Sure, the truck is a little bit higher, so if you're shorter, that may become a challenge. But other than that, it's the ultimate family hauler, right? Like, it's so big, there's really no issues at all. And if you need, you can fold up the rear seats to put in whatever you need back there. And there's a little bit of hidden storage just behind the seats themselves. I mean, it's a good place. There's really nothing to complain about it, other than the fact that if you get a Ford, for example, you do get the panoramic sunroof, which we don't get here. The seats on the front, heated, cooled. Because it is a high country, you also got that embroidered here on the headrest. Ultimately, pretty comfortable. The seats, it's pretty flat, let's be honest. It's not like supportive in really any way, but for longer journeys, these are going to be great. In front of me, the typical Chevy steering wheel. You have all the buttons that you naturally would have, and the buttons behind it to control like your volume, as well as the station that you're on or track that you're listening to. Right behind that, you got your full digital cluster. It actually looks really nice, and it is customizable as well. Depending on the theme that you choose, as well as the layout, you can really customize it with whatever you really would like on the display itself. You do get a heads-up display as well, and that does show you a lot of detailed information there. And of course, the big old infotainment screen. It is powered by Google, and it has my wireless CarPlay. There's Android Auto. Like, it just works really well. And it's smooth too. Like, there's no real lag in it. And in the week that I've been using it, it's been like just perfect. There's no issues with it. No, sometimes you get the software glitches here and there. None of those issues here. So I do appreciate that. And what I also appreciate is just, your climate controls. It's a big old knob. It's easy to use, and all the buttons that you naturally would use is right there. Speaking of buttons, I do like the layout of this a little bit better than the Sierra because, these buttons right here, they're just higher up, and the climate control, I don't know, I just find it a little bit easier to reach along with that brake controller. Everything's just more in place comparing to the Sierra. But of course, everyone has a different taste on that, so let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. I mean, overall, the interior, it has all the materials that you would kind of expect in a high country. You got soft touch materials on the side, you got the wood, leather is pretty nice. Sure, it's not like a Cadillac experience, but you're not paying Cadillac money. And it's not a Denali Ultimate, and you know what? That's totally fine. The Silverado is, well, it's a little bit less on your pockets, and of course, we do appreciate that. Under the hood, you do get that Duramax diesel V8, and it's nice and powerful. In fact, it has more horsepower and torque than the standard V8. 470 horsepower, 975 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you're going with the numbers war, yeah, the Ford with that new 6.7 thousand foot-pounds of torque, yeah, you know, you're not winning the numbers war here, but there is one thing that the Silverado does better than the other heavy duties. It's, well, just how it drives. This doesn't feel like a heavy duty when it drives. Now, I'm not saying like it doesn't feel less of a truck. I'm just saying like it's more engaging. The front end being an independent front suspension, there's just a little bit more to it, and I enjoy that. And it just feels like, not like a car, let's be honest. It just feels like a 1500 that's maybe a little bit bigger. And it's just so refined. The suspension in the back, yes, it is stiffer than you might kind of expect, but it's not that bad. And the best part, it's just the entire package. The entire thing is so, well, civilized. I mean, if you think back a bit, diesel engines were kind of rackety and they just never have that audio factor that you really enjoyed. Here, once the engine is warmed up, you barely hear it. It's so calm and quiet that you kind of forget it's a diesel until you put that foot down, because when you do, you get I'm basically doing 100 kilometers per hour, about 60 miles per hour, and I can get wheel slip. That's what 970 foot-pounds of torque gets you. And of course, the 10-speed Allison, it's so smooth as well. It downshifts whenever you need, and this is just a really, really good package. I don't feel like this is out of place in like a twisty environment. Like even here, there's just a few curves. I feel confident in this, and I like the way it drives. It's a little entertaining. It's not just because like it's fun of just like how it feels and how it steers, but because, I mean, there's no weight on the rear end. The back end sometimes steps out. Traction control, you know, it's still there to help you out whenever you need, but it's just a little entertaining. Really, that's what it is. And, you know, when you drive it more sensibly, like on the highway, you do have the adaptive cruise control, and that works really well. Unfortunately, you don't have lane centering on this, so you can't be like full off, hands off driving. It does have lane departure assist. So like if you're driving straight and it's like going a little bit out of the lane, it'll try to put you back in, but that's kind of the max that it'll do. But it does have a lot of like safety features for like your trailer, for example. You hook it up and it can tell you how much weight there is on the tongue itself. It can tell you if your lights are working. You can get remote cameras on your trailer to make backing up easier. Like, trucks these days are just so rounded. It's the ultimate family vehicle. That's basically what it's come down to. And the top trims, like this high country, it's now a very good luxury vehicle. Sure, it's not as soft and comfortable as, you know, a Mercedes S-Class would be, but the way that you would use this is completely different, right? Let's be honest. But you're not really missing out on all that much. You got your leather, you got your wood, you got heated and cooled seats. Sure, no panel roof. Sure, no massaging seats. Sure, no ambient lighting. But do you really need all of that? Do you? This is a heavy-duty truck. It's for, well, initially it was designed for people who are actually like working and stuff, but now it's definitely not. This is just a very good all-around truck for every day. You can get a 1500. You can get a 3500. I'm sure the 1500 would be better every day, But this honestly isn't bad at all. I've been really enjoying myself, and that's the best part. Pricing, well, at 114,000 Canadian dollars is definitely not the cheapest vehicle on the road, but it's not that bad. Because if you spec up a 1500, it's basically there. I mean, the better option, at least here in Vancouver, would be to step up to the 3500. Now, once again, I do understand that's an upgrade, and you do have stiffer springs, and of course, the ride would get worse on that. But hear me out. Here in Vancouver, you're going to pay less tax on the 3500 because it's categorized as a commercial vehicle. So if you want to save 3% on your truck, well, get the 3500. I mean, yeah, it's a bit of a compromise, like I said, but it's not that bad. It really isn't. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Like the video if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll catch you next week. See you later.